maybe kind of adjacent to that, but also there may be some other parts of this. What are some of your biggest challenges as a writer? So is it um, parts of writing? Is it distraction? Like, what are some of your challenges as a writer?
Distraction is definitely one of them. So like I said, when I started writing, I was a student, and that was just like luxury free time, which I didn't appreciate enough at the time. Um, so then I I when did I have my son? So how old is he? So yeah, my book. So I signed the contract 2020, but it was like about 18 months, 2 years until we were going to release it because of the COVID pandemic having a huge impact on publishing, and just there was a delay. So in the meantime, I got pregnant, um, and that has a huge impact. Like being a parent
Hmm.
has a massive impact on your ability to write. Just getting used to having a newborn, and then toddler stage is a whole new ball game these days.
Hmm.
So you ultimately have to just work around it, and you just don't have as much free time generally in life, right? As a parent,
Yeah.
like it's just it's just a fact.
Yeah.
And so I find that is having to push myself in terms of like I'll get to an evening and be like, I don't have much energy right now. I could really just sit here and play Zelda or watch a TV show and not really think about much. But
Yeah.
if you want to get stuff done, you kind of have to boot yourself up the arse and
Hmm.
say, you've got, right now I'm trying to edit this book. If I want to meet the deadline, self-imposed deadline, I will say, but I want to get it out for autumn, so it needs to be edited. So I can't just let myself be exhausted. I'm like, okay, at least get a chapter done. So I find that having small goals like that is a lot more helpful than when I was not a parent, and had so much more free time. I could just sit and be like, I'm going to write 2,000 words, and it was just nothing.
Hmm.
Whereas now I feel happy if I achieve a couple of hundred words in a writing session.
Hmm.
Um, and distraction being the issue in terms of, like we said, social media. We're just so connected to everything on our laptops. I bought a free write, which is
It's on my list to get one. I want to get one real bad.
it's really good. I mean, expensive. I appreciate that. Not everyone
Yeah.
could afford it. But it was a great investment because that. So if anyone doesn't know, it's a distraction-free writing tool. It's like a tiny little laptop style thing, but literally all you can do on it is write. You can't. It's kind of very awkward to go back and edit on. So the aim of it is just literally you write. Editing is
and
for
and it
later.
only shows like depending on the model, it only shows like a few lines at a time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I've got the Traveller. It's got a kind of a little screen, but again, yeah, you can't see much of it, and it's the aim just you sit and write. And to be fair, that it massively helped me because that's how I finished Echoes of the Ether Stone, which is the book that I'm querying at the moment. That was frozen for ages, for probably a couple of years in the first couple of years of my son's life. And I thought I'm never going to get that book finished. And I
Hmm.
bought the free write, and it was like a game changer. So if you do find yourself distracted, looking into distraction free writing tools like that, really
Hmm.
helpful. Issue being, now that I'm editing, I have to use my laptop again. And so the distractions are back. So yeah, I do find personally, I don't know about you, but I have to give myself about 10-20 minutes to get into the zone, because that first chunk of time feels like a challenge. Like I'm constantly like, oh, I need to check my emails. Oh, there's a
Hmm.
notification there. It's very easy to get distracted. Once you're in it, you kind of the flow is going. It's a bit easier, but yeah, you have to be very conscious of what is taking up your time. And if you
Hmm.
want to get something done, you have to challenge yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I free writes definitely on my list of things I want to try.
Mm.
I also so a couple of little tools that I've been using. I have an app on my computer called. Let me make sure I say it right. I think it's just called Focus app. One Focus. And basically, what you can do is it can lock different apps or websites or like social media stuff. Like, so you can set a time of like block it for 2 hours or something. And
Yeah.
then once you close out of the window, like you can't get into it. It
Hmm.
will not let you. So I have an app for that. I've also got. Have you seen the advertisements for Brick? Have you seen those?
No, I don't
I
think so.
so I just got one.
Mhm.
It's like a little square device. It's like this big. It's not very big, and it doesn't have battery or nothing. It's an NFC device, like a
Mhm.
chip reader type thing.
Mhm.
And what you can do is you can set it up in the app to lock certain apps, and then you lock your phone, like you put your phone up next to it and lock it, like if you did Apple Pay or something.
Mhm.
But it locks all the apps until you go back to the device and unlock it.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's been really helpful for
Yeah.
like I leave it, it's magnetized on my fridge, and
Mhm.
then when I leave for the day, I lock my social media apps on my phone, and then I can't get into them all day until
Mhm.
I get back home and can unlock it.
That sounds really helpful because
Yeah.
social media is such a time drain, isn't it? Like you can just
Hmm.
very easily find yourself scrolling.
And it's so necessary too at the same
Mm,
time. It's like
mm,
that's where it's like this
yeah.
crappy dichotomy of like I don't want to be on it, but I kind of
Mhm.
need to use it. So yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. It's exactly because if wasn't an author, just took that out of the equation, I wouldn't be on there at all because
Hmm.
it's just, the way that they're constructed is such that it's so addictive and just, giving you that dopamine hit and it's just endlessly negative impact on mental health.
Hmm.
But as an author, all you're constantly told is you need to be present on all these platforms and be pushing your book because if you don't, then you've got no chance. Because even actively engaging on those platforms, you still have to, push and push and push to get
Hmm.
any kind of small traction, don't you? It's you know, tiny percentage of people that will suddenly explode because of book talk or whatever.
Hmm.
Generally, we're just trying to make our voices heard amongst a whole sea of other authors.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and even like, we wouldn't be talking if it wasn't for social media.
Mm,
So it's one of those like,
yeah.
it's like, how do you use the benefits without it
Hmm.
distracting from what you're ultimately trying to do?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's an endless, I don't know if it'll ever end. We'll see what happens in the
Mm-hmm.
future, but it's, uh, it's, it's an interesting time, that's for sure.
It is.